After a long absence, Mafia returns with the spin-off series focusing on the origins of the iconic Don. In this game, you play as a young man who will eventually become the most feared crime boss in the city. Like before, the story is divided into chapters, each with its own protagonist, which are all connected by the central storyline. Here we have 1930s New York to explore. The graphics have been updated to accommodate the newer generation of gaming hardware, and we get another gripping story that you woe and soon forget. This is Mafia: Dawn's Daylight. Fear wears a smile. The first thing you should know about this game is that it is different from what Mafia fans might be used to. You don't play as a low-level mobster trying to climb the ranks of the family. Instead, we follow the rise of a powerful crime boss during Prohibition times, complete with plenty of action, drama, and intriguing characters. The story revolves around 3 men, but we begin our journey with the youngest of the bunch. As soon as the game starts, you'll find yourself behind the wheel of a Ford Model A. We quickly learn that his name is Paulo, and he has just returned home to the Bronx after serving in World War. He lives together with his mother and 2 younger brothers, and seems like your typical street gangster at first. But there's more to him than meets the eye. While walking down the street with his best friend, Frank, he spots a group of soldiers harassing some civilians and can't help but stand up for them, even though he knows he's outnumbered. This puts him in the crosshairs of the local mob boss, Joe. It turns out to be Paulo's former commanding officer from the war. In spite of being threatened, Paulo still refuses to back down and tells Joe where he can stick his offer. This, of course, doesn't go down well and sets the stage for the conflict that I'll carry on throughout the game. Now that we know who Paulo is, we meet another important character, Professor Luca Salieri. For those who played the original Mafia, you may already be familiar with him. But this time we see him during his youth, when he was known as Lucky. He runs a casino on the outskirts of town. But the authorities are closing in, and he needs help moving his equipment to a new location. Enter Paulo. With a few friends, they help move everything over, and Lucky repays them by fixing a car for Paulo's mother. Despite being able to take care of himself, Lucky prefers to stay away from violence and focuses on building his criminal empire through smarter means. Seeing him in action gives us a good idea of how he became such a powerful figure in the Mafia. And finally, we have Joseph, also known as Joe, the main antagonist of the story. When we meet him, he's already established as the top dog in town, ruling with an iron fist. He built his empire through brute force and intimidation, and anyone who opposes him finds themselves on the wrong side of his shotgun. From here on out, the story will unfold in chapters, each separated by recap sequences that do a great job of keeping you informed of what happened previously. After a few missions, Paulo's house gets raided by police, and his mom is arrested for selling alcohol illegally. Although he wasn't involved in any of this, he decides to take the blame, so his brothers don't get taken away as well. This results in him getting sent to jail, where we meet another character, Moreno, who becomes a close friend and eventual business partner of Paulo. During their time inside, they hatch a plan to get revenge on the police captain responsible for putting them there, which works out pretty well for both of them. Once out, Paulo and Moreno part ways, but they promise to meet again someday. Soon after, Paulo gets a visit from Lucky, who offers him a chance to join his crew. He gladly accepts, and together, they pull off several successful heists, cementing their status as rising stars in the criminal underworld. However, Joe is far from happy about these developments and vows to destroy everyone who defies him. We'll eventually come face to face with him, and things won't end peacefully. The ensuing shootout leaves us with no choice but to flee. On our way out, we bump into none other than Moreno, who teams up with us to take down Joe once and for all. His inside knowledge proves invaluable and helps us eliminate several of Joe's men without suffering any casualties. Unfortunately, Joe manages to escape yet again, but this only makes us more determined to bring him down. The next chapter sees us exploring new areas and taking on more dangerous missions. Now, going under the name of Salieri, we continue to expand our criminal enterprise, all while staying one step ahead of the law. The graphics remain faithful to the 1930s setting, giving the entire affair a unique atmosphere that's hard to come by these days. During one of the missions, we get to drive the Stutz S6, which is not only beautiful to look at, but also offers impressive performance. On par with other vehicles we've tested, The driving experience is quite enjoyable thanks to the responsive controls and accurate vehicle physics. It's worth noting that Mafia 3 was developed with the Unreal Engine, which shows in the excellent graphics. The attention to detail is mind-blowing and truly transports you back in time. Whether exploring the city or sneaking into heavily guarded facilities, there's always something to marvel at. For example, when you enter a building, the interior changes dynamically instead of loading a separate area. There are also tons of interactive objects in the environment that add depth to the world. Now, let's talk about the combat. It's nothing like the gunfights in GTA V, but rather feels closer to what you'd experience in the Godfather games. Head-on assaults rarely work unless you have overwhelming firepower. So it's usually best to pick your battles wisely and use the environment to your advantage. Think of it as a mix between stealth and action. This approach keeps things interesting and prevents the gameplay from becoming repetitive. As you progress through the story, you'll encounter various memorable characters who each bring something different to the table. The writing is top-notch and does a fantastic job of developing the narrative. This results in an immersive experience that draws you into the criminal underworld of 1930s New York. At this point, you might be wondering why the game is called Mafia and not Lucky Salieri. Well, the answer lies in the title. Fear wears a smile. From the moment Paolo arrives home from World War I, it's clear that he possesses certain qualities that set him apart from others. He shows bravery when standing up to Joe and his gang, something most people wouldn't dare to do. This event immediately establishes him as a potential threat to Joe's authority, which creates tension from the start. Throughout the game, we witness Paolo displaying traits that make him feared and respected within the criminal community. As players, we can see how these qualities transform him into a formidable leader, capable of inspiring loyalty and striking fear into his enemies. In addition to the main storyline, we can participate in optional activities that offer additional benefits. These range from participating in illegal street races to testing our shooting skills at the shooting range. There's even a flight simulator, although it's not exactly realistic since you're flying a plane made of blocks. It's safe to say this is meant more for fun than anything else. This brings us to the question of how long it takes to beat the game. While the length of Mafia games varies, the developers have stated that this one is shorter than the previous installments. Having completed it myself, I can confirm that it took me approximately 20 hours to finish. Excluding any side quests or collectibles, if you're planning to do those, then expect to spend a bit more time in the criminal underworld of 1930s New York. Overall, Mafia, Dawn's Daylight, Fear Wears a Smile is a solid addition to the franchise. It brings a fresh perspective to the Mafia universe by exploring the origins of the infamous Dawn. With its compelling characters, engaging storyline, and decent gameplay, this spin-off delivers on what fans of the series are looking for. While it may not reach the heights of Mafia 2, it still stands out as a worthy addition to the franchise. If you enjoyed the original Mafia games, or just want to experience a different side of the Mafia universe, then this is definitely worth checking out.